everyone. On behalf of Byculla CPE Study Circle, I welcome you all to the 7th meeting of this financial year, and that's on a very hot topic, uh, and recent next generation audit tools and techniques and new consulting opportunities using tools. So, as we all know, tools are very important. We all are using a smartphone, but how much in depth the functionalities are we using? And similarly, we all are using computers, laptops we have, but are we using the tools the right way? Are we using the right tools for our profession? Are we using it efficiently? So from hard work, we have to switch to smart work. And for that, we have with us a very renowned faculty, one among us, a regional council member. He has been a mentor of Byculla CP Study Circle. So Murtuza bhai Kachwala, thank you very much for sparing your valuable time from your busy schedule as a regional council member. From your hectic schedule, you have given us time. Thank you very much. And for a formal introduction, I would request our core committee member, C. Josefa Nampurwala, to please unmute and introduce our learned speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Murtuza bhai, and a warm welcome to all the participants. It is indeed a pleasure to introduce CM Murtuza Kachwala, one of the seniors in the profession, also a regional council member. Basically, I'll fall off short of words because he doesn't require any introduction. He is one of us amongst us only, but he is very senior. Let me give a formal introduction. He's a FCA from 1994 batch, Bachelor of Commerce and Master of Commerce, Cost Management Accountant, Certified Internal Auditor, ISO 27001 Lead Auditor, Certified Information Systems Auditor, and has done Diploma in Information Systems Audit. So both worlds are covered here. Internal audit and systems audit both are covered. He was a regional council. He is a regional council member of WIRC for the year 2019 to 2022, and has been a past secretary of WIRC. He is also a chairman of Internal Audit Committee at WIRC, and he has served as secretary, vice chairman, and chairman of Kalyan Dombivli branch for respective 3 years, ending 2019. He has also been deputy conveyor of Kalyan CPE Study Circle and has been nominated on various committees of WIRC of ICI in the past, namely IFRS Committee, Management Accountant Committee, Internal Audit Committee. He is currently a member on advisory board at SITM at Pune, Symbiosis Institute. Murtuza bhai has more than 20 years of professional experience working with broad range of global public and private organizations, helping them deal with the most significant business risks and issues. His experience includes business and operational risk advisory, internal audit, business risk management, fraud investigations, etc. Currently, Murtuza bhai is a managing director of Protivity and heads the risk consulting and internal audit practice for Western India for Protivity. Murtuza has worked with organizations like Mitsui, OSK Lines, Hinduja Group, and Vodafone as head internal audit and SOX compliance, etc. And has also worked in consulting firms like AF Ferguson and Company and Protivity at various levels, and have been involved in wide spectrum of assignments with clients across industries across the globe. Uh, if this was not enough, he has also been regularly invited as a regular speaker at various forums and as a panelist on variety of subjects. He also visits management institutes like Symbiosis Institute of Technology Telecom Management, Balaji Institute of Telecom Management to speak to management students on various different topics. He occasionally writes in magazines, journals, and other publications. I think that would suffice as far as introduction is concerned. I would not waste much of time of the participants, and sir, over to you, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Josefa bhai, for the lovely introduction. Thank you, Murtuza and Abdul bhai, for setting up this lecture today. And thanks to the whole Byculla CPE committee for the excellent work which is being done. So many different topics, so many different good speakers. And I would also want to thank all the participants for taking out time and attending, and because this is the only encouragement which the committee and the convener co-convener gets. The more the participant, they like get more enthused to do more and more lecture and get good faculties. So with that, I think we can get started. Let me first put up my presentation. I hope we can see the slides now. Murtuza?
Yes, we can see now.
Great. Okay. So I have tweaked the subject also a little, and I said consulting opportunity using next generation tools and techniques. Okay. Of course, as we look at the tools and techniques, then like we will also cover like in from an internal audit angle and also from an angle of statutory audit. Okay, like what is the standard on analytic tools, and again maybe little will also cover the standard on the IT technology, which is like implemented by various clients. So my plan today is something like this. I have decided to take a simple process, procure to pay. Every of our clients do a lot of procurement. So procure to pay is really, because that is where a lot of cost is also spent, money is spent. And if we can bring about value or save money for the client there, or tell them about efficient ways of doing things, then I think client will be happy. So I will touch upon the basic process of procure to pay. So the first 15-20 minutes could be a little boring because we'll be talking about the basic of procure to pay. But we'll also see like in procure to pay, what are the features which are available in Tally, because many of us use Tally, but I'm sure some of us also have some clients where the clients or the companies use SAP or Oracle and maybe some other ERP. So we'll also talk about a few controls in this ERPs, and then we'll go ahead to see like how procure to pay changed today, what are the various tools which are being used, and then we'll go on to process mining, data analytics, robotic process automation, etc. So I will talk about multiple tools today which have become reality, which is not future, which is present. Okay. And the future is lot more is happening. So, but at least whatever is there in the present and what people are adopting, if we can start looking at those, identifying which one we like and which one we want to spend our time, energy on, and pick up couple of things and start using in our day-to-day lives or in like helping the client, then I'm sure we'll add value to the client also, and it will be a good thing to make increase our practice or make money as well. So that is the whole agenda. I'll stop at 3 or 4 point in time to take the questions. I will not keep all the questions for the end. Okay. So normally when I talk about procure to pay, see, the procurement plan or the procurement budget is actually dependent on what is the sales plan or sales budget or sales forecast. Okay. So like how much will be sold from Jan to December or April to March? Is there a seasonal variation? Okay, like during Diwali season, the sale will go up and hence the production needs to go up, or during rainy season, someone is doing something and hence that will go up, or during like summers, maybe the sale of air conditioner or etc. will go up and hence accordingly. So basis the sale, the production plan is prepared by every organization, and on the basis of the production plan, the organizations prepare a procurement plan for the whole year, and then the procurement plan is broken up into month-wise procurement plan. So that is where the procurement plan and what is required to be procured comes in. But if I were to talk about a normal manufacturing company and the client has 2 or 3 factories, of course, it is not only the raw material which is required. There will be multiple raw material which will have to be purchased and in multiple quantity during the course of the year. But along with that, there will be machine repairs, there will be tools and spare parts. There will be maybe a diesel consumption for machines when the electricity is not there, so that. And they will also procure some services like a security charges or a car hire charges or a gardening services or a housekeeping boys in their offices, X, Y, Z, and even and internal audit or statutory audit also is a service procurement. And then, of course, the capital items, the plant and machinery, the furniture fixture, the computer equipment, all of those also. So everything is procurement, operational, OPEX procurement or CAPEX procurement. So there will be multiple vendors from whom the company will be purchasing multiple products. So like, when do they identify the vendor? And I'm spending some time because I want to explain like what is a master data, what is the transaction data, what is the reference between the two, how does the process work? Because whenever you want to do consulting assignment, it is very, very important that you understand your client's industry, you understand your client's nature of business, you understand what hardware and software your client is using, and any process that you pick up, whether it is order to cash, whether it is commission, whether it is marketing, whether it is sales, or whether it is inventory or procurement, you will have to go end to end, and then only you will be able to find out whether the client, whatever process they are following, whether that is right, wrong, and whether you will be able to add value or bring about some automation or efficiency somewhere in the process, small pieces that way. So hence, like for every product, generally when we are doing statutory audit also or tax audit also, to ensure that the client has paid arm's length price or the market price, and the client has not paid anything more than the market price, and hence resultant booked excess expenditure and lesser profit, and hence lesser tax. That is also our responsibility, right, while doing the tax audit and statutory audit. Now, if I have to do that, that means at least 3 quotations and a comparative statement. So that is the reason we say like for a single product, there should be multiple vendors. So when does the client identify, or who identifies the vendors? So like in most organizations, there is a procurement team or the procurement department. And if the larger organization, then there are different people, that someone will procure only services, someone will procure capex item, someone will procure opex item, someone will focus only on the IT procurement. So maybe different people will focus on different things, and accordingly they will do the purchases. Okay, so the process of identifying the vendor is continuous, and it should keep on happening during the course of the year. And the vendor registration and the vendor master building also is a continuous process which should keep on happening. Of course, if you want to like record right input credit, then you will have to also take the GST certificate and record the GST number in the master. If you want to deduct TDS at the right rate, you will have to get a SPAN number and also find out whether it is a proprietorship or private limited or a partnership. Then only you will be able to know under 194C whether 1% or 2%, if there is no PAN, then what is required to be deducted. So all of those are built into the master. So generally what we are saying is the procurement team should identify the vendor. They should get all the vendor registration related detail, the form, the partnership deed, the memorandum article, the GST certificate, etc., etc. They should give everything to the IT team, and the IT team should create a vendor master. And hence, if you do that, that means there is a maker and there is a checker, or there is a segregation of duty. So now here, someone does one part, someone does another part, someone does third part. So there is a segregation of duty. Otherwise, what can happen is, assuming I am a employee in an organization called Adani, and I only create a vendor master, I can also book the purchase order, I can also book the purchase invoice, and also I can also make the bank payment. Then what will happen if my friend is Huzafa Mala? I will tell him, okay, I'll make payment of 1 lakh rupees to you, and you pay me 50,000 back. And whether the material or service is received or not received will not be there. And hence there will be no control. And that is the reason segregation of duty. So that is what I'm trying to tell you. Now, this segregation of duty control can be built into a tally also, and it can be built into an ERP also. We will proceed ahead. So vendor identification of vendor and creation of vendor master we talked about. Then like vendors are available in the master. So when does the purchase process start and who initiates? So there is a user department. If laptops are required, it will be the IT department who will say we need laptop. If audit is required, maybe the CFO will say I need to appoint a statutory auditor. And maybe an internal audit head will say I want to appoint an internal auditor, but the admin team will say I want to appoint a gardener or a security guy, and the purchase and the production team will say I want to purchase certain raw material. Now, whenever the production team requests for purchase of this thing, and they are raising a purchase request, should they see or should they have a report available with them like what is the stock quantity available for that particular item, and then only they should raise a purchase request. Otherwise, it will be unnecessary purchase. So hence we say like the user department should be available to see what is available in the inventory. The report should be available to them. They should be able to view it, and once they view it, and then they know that the quantity is now going down and it is reaching the reorder level. A reorder level can also be defined for each and every item in Tally also and in ERPs also. Similarly, like there is an economic order quantity which we studied. Okay, like if I need to buy from a vendor and the vendor is sitting in Delhi, then if I buy only 100 quantity, then the whole cost of transportation and freight will be on 100. But if I buy 500 and if I need 500 in the next 1 month, I should buy 500. Then the cost will be divided, and then like it needs so many days XYZ. So you decide an economic order quantity. So that is also can be inbuilt into it. Now, the purchase requisition, can anyone raise purchase request for any amount? The answer is no. So in a user department, there will be different level. There will be the first level person who is the accountant or whatever. Then there will be a team lead. Then there will be a manager. Then there will be a department head. And maybe the team lead will be able to raise purchase requisition up to 50,000. Maybe the team lead, the next level will be able to raise it up to 50,000 to 2 lakh rupees. Maybe the department head will be able to raise up to 5 lakh rupees, and maybe the CFO up to 50 lakh rupees. And then the board or audit committee above 50 lakh. And wherever these limits are defined for purchase requisition, for purchase order, for bank payment, for petty cash payment, anything, the limits are defined in one document normally, which is called a delegation of authority matrix, which can be designed and which can be configured in any software, so that there can be a control which can be built ke jiska jo level hai, it does not create a purchase requisition or order or payment beyond that level. So that control can be automated into an ERP or an SAP or even a Tally. Okay, so delegation of authority matrix I just wanted to touch upon, but I also wanted to touch upon one more thing here. Okay, like when a person raises purchase requisition, agar he makes a mistake, instead of 100 he types one extra zero and he orders 1000 quantity, then the procurement team will release the purchase order for 1000, and hence excess purchase will happen. Now, to avoid that, there should be a maker and a checker control, and hence the department head will review. So someone who makes the purchase requisition, the accountant, he will make the request. It will go into through an automatic workflow. It will go into the bucket of the department head, and the department head will approve. And that is what is called a maker and a checker control. Then once the purchase requisition is raised, all the purchase requisition comes to the procurement department, and the procurement department raises purchase order. Now, currently, maybe the procurement team raises purchase order manually in some client, and in some places in Tally or whatever ERP, they go and do the punching that this vendor, so and so, this is the quantity rate. But the whole the purchase order process can also be automated now. Okay. And once the purchase order is raised, the order is maybe raised for 1000 quantity. You can even say that I want 100 in January, and maybe 300 in February, and 500 in March. So when that also can be defined. Okay, where to deliver, whether you want to deliver it in like 3 different warehouses. One is sitting in Thane, another is sitting in Gurgaon, and third is sitting in Nasik, in your 3 factories or 3 warehouses. Of course, you can define that also. But how do you control that you raised a purchase order for 1000 and the vendor did not dump on you 2000 or 1500 quantity? Because then that would mean excess purchase. And once you have excess purchase and you cannot utilize them, then that would mean blocking of working capital, blocking of space, and even maybe it will become obsolete, and it can become scrap, and it can become a slow moving or non-moving item. Okay, so to avoid all of those, again, there has to be a control on the purchase order quantity and the GRN quantity, and those controls can be automatically built into an SAP, Oracle, or even on Tally, where like what happens is, while you prepare a goods received note, prepare karte samay, you will have to, if you enable the control, you have to put the purchase order number, and the moment you put the purchase order number and the purchase orders are created in the system, the system software will automatically see that the purchase order was for how much, 1000. Now the first goods received note is 200, it will allow. Second is 500, so cumulative is 700, it will allow. Third one is 350, it is exceeding 1000, it will not allow. And it will say that the GRN is exceeding the PO quantity, it will stop automatically. Now here, if you look at, there is one bullet in the key control called as tolerance check as per process. So some of these software also allow you to fix the tolerance limit. that 5% more or less can be allowed now, or 10% or 2%, whatever you want to configure can be done depending on the material or the client's nature of business. Okay, assuming they are buying chemical, when the chemical comes, it could be a little high, low or high. If the container is coming, it could be a little high or low, and hence that is the reason they allow a tolerance limit. So then you will be able to create the GRN up to the tolerance limit. Once the GRN is created, then the vendor sends invoice, and the invoices are sent where? The invoices can be sent to the warehouse factory where the material is delivered. The invoices can be sent to the finance department. The invoices can be sent to the procurement department. So where should the invoice be sent? The thing is, wherever the material is supplied at the warehouse or at the factory, there is no need of the invoice there, because what will he do with the invoice? He is not going to process the invoice. If there is a simple delivery challan also, or something which gives an acknowledgement of the quantity or a packing list, that by itself is enough. Okay, that is number one. They don't need invoice because they will not do anything with the invoice. Second thing is, does the procurement team need invoice? The procurement team does not need invoice. It is the accounts payable team within the finance who needs the invoice. And once the accounts payable team gets the invoices, then they can make the payment processing. And then comes, like, again, for the payment processing, the approval mechanism comes into play, and then the final payout happens. So this is the whole procure to pay process, which I just tried to talk in a little fast, or this thing. Now, there are two aspects which I want to touch here, or three aspects I'll touch. If you are an internal auditor, in internal audit, you are required to cover a particular process end to end. Now, in an organization, there could be order to cash, procure to pay, inventory, fixed asset, treasury, cash management, multiple things. You will identify which one is high risk area, and assuming procurement is a high risk area and you are doing audit of procurement, then you are supposed to add value. How will you add value? By making the process more efficient, by making the process more effective or robust, by automating certain things, by reducing the cost. Now, in procure to pay, what are the various risks? The risk is unwanted purchase or excess quantity purchased. You wanted 100 quantity, but by mistake you purchased 150 kgs or quantity. That is excess purchase. To avoid the excess purchase, the control is, while the purchase requisition, see whether, like, what is the economic order quantity or the reorder level. Is the quantity already available? If the quantity is already available, don't purchase. Then a maker and checker control, the user making the purchase requisition and the department head looking at it. Now, you can purchase at high price higher than the market rate, and that is where the concept of request for quotation, request for proposal, tender, or purchase committee comes into place. So if there are high value items, then you will have a tender, RFP, RFQ, envelopes, quotations will come in sealed envelope. It will go into a box. There will be a purchase committee. They will all open the envelopes and then decide, okay, which party is giving the best rate. And then they will decide, prepare a justification sheet from whom to buy, and then accordingly order will be placed. But in a normal course, if there are normal purchases, vendors are identified. But for a single product, there will be multiple vendor, and the vendor who is the best, not the least price, the vendor who is the best, who gives good product, etc., on him only the purchase orders will be raised. So that rate control, that you don't buy at a higher rate. Now, what is the quality control? That when the material comes in, whether the material is of the good quality or substandard quality. And that is where there is something which is called as inspection at the time of receipt at the warehouse, material inspection. Now, whether the material inspection should happen before the goods received note or after the goods received note. So there are two things. One, अगर substandard quality है और उसका goods received note बन गया, so that comes into the system, and if it gets issued to the production floor, then substandard finished goods will be produced. Sale, there you could be sale rejects. It could affect the repetition. It could affect the working capital and multiple other things. And that is the reason generally most companies say first quality check and then the GRN. But in ERPs like SAP, Oracle, you got something called as, you can make the GRN, but there is a block stock. So the stock will be blocked. You will not be able to prepare an issue note till the time the quality check happens. And when the quality check happens, the material will move from a block stock to a free stock, and then it will be available, or good stock, and then you will be able to release it. Now, quality check generally used to happen physically on a document, but now quality checks also can be done in the system. So the question which comes to mind is कि अगर goods है तो goods में receipt is goods received note, quality is checked and there is a quality note. In a service what happens? Goods के अंदर we know कि like so much quantity is received when you prepare a goods received note. But in service, so in service also now many ERPs allow you to prepare an SRN, service received note or service requisition or whatever that way, so that someone who has taken the service will go and approve that the internal audit happen or statutory audit happen, and the invoice can then be processed. Now here when we look at this particular control, what is happening is by making GRN, you are ensuring that the GRN quantity does not exceed the PO quantity. मतलब आपने जितना order किया उससे ज़्यादा supply deliver नहीं हुआ है. That is number one. If quality check happens, that means जो right quality का material है, it is not substandard. That also you check. So all the risk you slowly cover by building controls into the processes. Now, when the money comes, the payment is required to be done. There is again a risk. Like if the vendor had agreed to give you 60 days credit period, and someone in the AP team makes the payment in 5 days, that means you are losing or you are creating a strain on your working capital. So why did someone pay early? And if I am the employee and if I pay someone early, 7 दिन के पहले 5 दिन में दे दिया, so is the vendor related to me? Is the vendor giving me some bribe? Is there something wrong? Something can happen, right? Someone may want to make the payment early and make some money on the side of it. So to avoid that, maybe there will be a payment limits, and then again there will be a check, like before due date if a payment is going to happen, then there will be an alarm which will be raised and it will say that like the payment is being done before the due date. So in the software there are a lot of controls which can be built, and these controls are preventive control. But while we do audit, we will check the accuracy of the preventive controls, but we will also do a lot of detective controls. And detective controls, a lot of them can be looked at by doing a, what do you say, data analytics and various form of things, which can be, we will look at as we go ahead. So now here, when we talk about lot of analytics, and if you are doing a statutory audit, private limited company का audit कर रहे हैं, public limited company का audit कर रहे हैं, या tax audit कर रहे हैं, या even if you are doing GST audit, so there are a lot of analytics which can be done, and analytics can be done by using an Excel. Simple is Excel. After Excel, there are softwares like IDEA and ACL. IDEA, there are a lot of queries which are inbuilt already in IDEA software, and you can get the data, use the IDEA tool, and you can run the IDEA tool, you can run the specific queries, and you can get the exception report. Now, what are the exception report? That also I'll talk about in the next 2 or 3 slides. If it is not IDEA and you want to go a little higher, then you can use database solutions like SQL, and you can use coding languages like Python or R, and you can do the data analytics queries and you can run. Now, what type of queries can be done? That also we will see as we go ahead. Now, see, while we do statutory audit also, there is some responsibility on us to ensure that whatever sample we do, whether they are right or wrong. And while we do internal audit, we have to look at the whole process end to end and see whether the controls are working effectively and whether we can add value to the client. Now, let me go ahead a little. So what type of checks we can do, whether we are a statutory auditor, internal auditor, or a consultant? GR is prepared, goods received note, invoice is received, GR quantity versus invoice quantity. Can you check? Of course, yes. If it is there, both are captured, you can check. And you can see, like goods received was 800, but invoice is for 1000. It can be stopped. But having said that, let me also tell you that in ERP, there is something called as a 3-way match, and now there is a 4-way match also. When you say a 3-way match में क्या होता है? Invoice automatically process होता है. The first thing they see like goods received quantity is as per the purchase order quantity or not. So quantity check happens. Now quality check also can be seen whether the quality review has happened or not. Then the GRN quantity and the invoice quantity is also checked. Invoice के अंदर जो rate है, the rate is checked with the purchase order. So the quantity, the quality, the rate, everything can be checked by the system automatically if the data is captured. So you don't need to do this check or analytics manually. Now the second thing, is a open purchase order risk? The answer is yes. The organization has raised purchase order to XYZ, and the moment you give purchase order, that means you've given a commitment that you will buy something. And those commitments, whether they are capital commitments or normal commitments, becomes in a way a contingent liability, and we need to report. So we pull out that. If I pull out a report of open purchase orders, what do I see? कि purchase order में term क्या लिखा था कि delivery will be in 15 days, but now it is 6 months they are not delivering. So why? Do you really need the material now? Have you purchased the material from someone else? And if you already purchased, why don't you cancel this purchase order? So those are type of things which will come out. But like there are a lot of other things which will also come out. Like if there is a GRN बन गया लेकिन invoice punch ही नहीं हुआ, is there a problem? The answer is yes. Goods is received, but invoice, the vendor is not giving you invoice. Can that happen? The vendor will definitely give you invoice. That means there is some trouble somewhere. Invoice is either lost or it is not reached, or there is something, and hence you not book the purchase or not book the liability in a way. Okay, so you have to look at that. So there are a lot of those type of things which can be done. But while we do a tax audit or we do a GST audit or we do a statutory audit, हम लोग डेटा क्लाइंट के पास से कभी-कभी लेते हैं जिधर हम लोग अकाउंटिंग नहीं कर रहे. Can we do a sequence check? Should we do a sequence check? Like all purchase order are there in a this thing or not? If the client sends you data in Excel, he can delete certain things which he does not want you to look at, and he can give you the data. So sequence check can also be seen. Delivery tolerance can also be seen. So there are various type of things which can be either automated or you can write queries. Now, what are the various queries also we'll talk about as we progress ahead. But I am running a little ahead slowly. Duplicate payments. If there is a security service, normally there will be 1 bill in a month for one location. Okay. And if it is only one location, and if there are two security guys and there is a 16,000 rupees bill, and every month 16,000 plus GST, whatever 19,200 or whatever amount comes, then you see that in a month, agar do invoices, that means there is a problem. So if there are two invoices on the same month of the same amount, it will pick up. On the same day, same vendor, same amount, it will pick up. So when you write queries and you say same amount to the same vendor on the same day or same month, it will pick up and give you a report. Okay. So once these queries are written, you will get all of these which will come up and which you will be able to utilize to see like is something going wrong, and you can go and see those particular things. Okay. So those type of checking can happen, and there are multiple other things which can which you can keep on writing queries in a simple what is the standard cost you can work out. Okay. And you can do the vendor master check. Now can two vendors have the same GST number? The answer is no. So if you have a complete vendor master, you can check whether GST number is appearing in multiple vendors, whether the same PAN number is appearing in multiple vendors, whether the same bank account is appearing in multiple vendors. Now, if a particular PAN number is there in multiple vendors, then you may even find that there are 3 different locations. One is Thane, one is Gurgaon, one is Nasik, and all 3 have created a different vendor for the same party. But someone says that Tata Teleservices, someone said TTSL, and someone said TTL. So maybe while typing or creating code, they have made mistake. Why should they do that? There should be one common team who should create the code. Then you will know from one vendor how much you are purchasing. You will be able to go and do the bulk buying, and you will also be able to do the bill to bill matching, and you will also be able to bargain with them and get a good what do you say, credit period. So there are all of these things which can come out by way of analytics. Okay. Let me go ahead a little. This is like I am showing a slide on, I am naming it Oracle. So Oracle mein, there are only few features which are there. I'm not covering everything, but in Oracle there is one good feature which is like a catalog. So you can even create a catalog. And in Oracle, if you want to buy a laptop of a Lenovo of a particular make, there is a search option. You can go, you can search, and you can identify a vendor, and you can raise a purchase order. Similarly, both SAP and Oracle, you can create blanket purchase order. मतलब अगर कोई क्लाइंट का मैन्युफैक्चरिंग है and they need a particular raw material every month 1000 ton, okay, they can raise a blanket purchase order in the system, like on every month, first of the month, a purchase order should be raised on particular vendor, and that vendor, like the order will go on the mail ID to that vendor automatically, and it will be generated, it will be created, and the vendor can then go and deliver. So you don't need to go and punch. So now what is happening is, like here there are, you can create one Excel template. In Excel, you can write vendor code, you can write the quantity, and you can say like when do you want it to be delivered or when do you want the purchase order to be raised. And then you upload the Excel into this ERPs, and the ERP will automatically go to the vendor code, pick up the vendor name, etc. will appear. The vendor's terms and like credit period and other terms will appear. The rate of that vendor will also appear once the quantity goes there. Purchase order will be generated, digitally signed, and it will be mailed to the vendor. But then what you want? Then in the vendor master you want, like what is the rate, what is the credit period, mail ID will have to be captured, etc., etc., so that automatically it can be created and sent. So there are a lot of features which can be automated in this software themselves. But there are cases where there are certain things which cannot be automated by this ERP software, which is where we can use technology like optical character reader or like RPA, robotic process automation, and we'll talk about that also when we go to the new procure to pay cycle. So like, see here again, I will break up the procure to pay into multiple different slides to talk about a few things everywhere. Sourcing and procurement, supplier creation, master analysis of supplier performance can be done. Once it is captured, you can know like which supplier you are buying, how much, etc., etc., and all of those. Online transaction approvals can happen, and multiple things. It can also be interfaced with the payment system or the bank system, and like you mentioned, using some softwares, you can even pick up the barcode and you could create the GRN on your own, and using optical character reader also GRNs can be created. And of course, integration with the VAT application or the GST application also can be done, and a lot of organizations are doing it. So like they create chart of accounts, input credit for different rates, 5%, 8%, 15%, 28%, whatever it is, output liability, entries gets automatically pushed into a ledger account, and like your summary will be created, and the summary is in a format which can be auto-populated into your GSTR forms. Now, let me go ahead, and then I will stop again on the new procure to pay, and we'll talk about a lot of stuff. So see, generally, when you talk about consulting opportunities, there are three types of things which can happen. Does the organization have end-to-end process which is documented, a policy and procedure document? And we as chartered accountant can help them in creating a policy and procedure document, number one. We can even like configure that in the software or ERP, and if it is configured, we can capture that. Then there is a process angle, there is a people angle, training the people and ensuring that the people follow. So processes are there, technology is there, but people are not following. That can become your observation, and you can tell the management that here so and so things are not happening. And then again, of course, lot of automation using lot of technology. Okay. So in a way, up till now, I wanted to cover 2 or 3 things. One was like the whole end-to-end procure to pay process, which will become a base for us today. I've spent almost about half an hour to create a base. But let me tell you one thing, that people spend, large organizations spend huge sum of money, crores of rupees in implementing SAP, Oracle, etc. And if someone wants to make a career, they can really make career in implementing or learning this ERPs. Why? Because while the organizations implement the ERP, a user requirement document is required to be prepared, which is someone consultant does it. Then a user acceptance testing, when the software is ready, someone has to do the UAT, someone does a pre-go live, someone does a post-go live, someone goes and does the audit, okay, like whether it is giving return on investment or not. Then like if a particular person can do the same thing, multiple things which is in like in a conflict of interest, then a segregation of duty can be done, analysis like whether there are SOD rules are conflicting or not, that can be done. So there are a lot of opportunities which are there. when large organizations are already implemented and even looking at efficiency and effectiveness of implementation of these ERPs. With that, now let me come to this slide, which is a real interesting slide, and we will spend a 15-20 minutes on this slide, and then I'll stop. I'll take your further inputs and then I'll only proceed ahead. Okay. Now I am saying it today. This is not the future. This is the present. And in present also, the new procure to pay in lot of large organization has transformed drastically. And when I say that, let me talk about in 4 buckets: sourcing and contracting, procurement and payment, reporting and analysis, and vendor management. Abhi sourcing and contracting, if I want to buy a data connection at my house, internet connection घर पे buy करना है, तो what do? We go to the site of Tata Sky, download their plan. We go to Airtel, download their plan. We go to again someone else, a local cable operator, download the plan. We prepare an Excel. We do the comparison कि क्या speed है, कितना Mbps है, कितना देगा, monthly कितना है, yearly कितना है, XYZ. Right? And if a procurement department of a large organization has to, for each product, identify so many vendors and do a comparison, how much time will be required? So what is happening is now large organization procurement departments are deploying something called as a web crawler. Crawler is an insect which will go on the web and search for a lot of data on the basis of the fields which you specified, and it will pull out the data. And if I were to tell you one example, live example, where one of my client, like say I'm giving an example of Tata Sky, and Tata Sky ki marketing department wants to find out कि like the competition is either Bharti Airtel or a Hathway or a Vodafone, what plans are they launching? That means the Tata Sky marketing guy will have to go to these website every day, search, download the plan, compare with his own plan, and then prepare a new plan to match with the competition strategy. Otherwise, he will lose customer. Now, what Tata Sky then does is they use CA like us, who are consulting mindset, who can write the web crawlers, and the web crawlers will say data plan, internet plan, Tata Sky, give the names. So it will go to Tata Sky, it will go to Idea, it will go to this thing, it will pull out those plans and it will prepare a comparison table in a particular format and keep on sending on a regular interval to the marketing team of your client. And the client will know that who has launched which plan and how does it compare in a normal format. So in the procure to pay, we talked about the first thing, which was identification of vendor. Now the identification of vendor can be automated using a something called a web crawler for a minute. Okay. So we talked about one application of web crawler. Let me go to the second one. There are a lot of these RFPs which come. Agar a bank wants to appoint an auditor, and there are so many CAs, all of us, we apply, 7-8 of us. And the bank had given very clear condition that there should be 4 partners, there should be 1 visa, there should be 500 square feet office, 20 employees, XYZ. अभी आप वो कंडीशन कंप्लाई कर रहे हो कि नहीं कर रहे हो, आपके डॉक्यूमेंट रीड कर करके किसी को निकालना पड़ेगा. तो उससे बेटर है कि the bank like appoint a consultant like us, and we design a format, and in that format you put column how many partners, employees, visa, this, and then you implement a RPA, a robotic process automation, a bot. The bot will open each of these documents which are there in one folder or one location or one mail, and the bot will read all the information from this document and it will put into those columns and it will prepare a comparative table and it will give it to you. So the whole document reading, pulling out the data, comparison and giving can be done through an RPA. So like RFP जो आता है, tenders आता है, quotation आता है, उसको evaluate करके एक हद तक दे देते हैं. Then you have to apply your judgment to see which vendor is good or not, and maybe you will have to talk to the vendor and find out. So talking the bot cannot do, that will have to be done by us, but then lot of stuff of reading, comparing and putting into a readable format can be done by this thing. Similarly, there are now organizations use Ariba type of software where like reverse bidding can happen, and while they appoint an internal auditor also, they start bidding where 5-6 firms will be invited. They will be given a user ID password, and the organization will say that like, okay, 8,000 rupees then per day. Then someone will say 7,900, 7,800, someone will say 6,000, and then the lowest bidder maybe will be appointed or given the contract, something like that. So there are softwares there also for bidding, and a lot of procurement organizations use this software. अगर हम लोग ऑडिट कर रहे हैं कोई क्लाइंट का जिधर ये सब सॉफ्टवेयर इंप्लीमेंटेड है, so are we capable to see whether they are working fine? Are we doing the audit correctly? Because while I am doing my statutory audit also, I'll have to be careful to see what systems are being used, and I'll have to select some sample to see like whether it is working fine or not. Otherwise, there will be a negligence of duty. Okay, let me go to the second bucket, which is procure to pay. Now, in the second bucket, friends, what is happening is like goods received note. Most of the organization में goods received note someone is preparing. अभी उसकी जरूरत नहीं है. अगर डिलीवरी चलन या पैकिंग लिस्ट आता है and there is an item code there, then using an optical character reader, OCR or RPA, you can read the item description, item code, and your GRN can be automatically populated, and the vendor name or vendor code can be picked up. It will be matched with your vendor master, and the GRN can be created automatically. Okay, so goods received notes can be created automatically. I also mentioned to you कि like अगर परचेज ऑर्डर रेस करना है तो एक एक्सेल में डाल दो वेंडर का नाम, क्वांटिटी और अपलोड करो, ऑटोमेटिकली परचेज ऑर्डर्स विल बी क्रिएटेड. नाउ लेट मी टॉक टू यू अबाउट इनवॉइस accounting and invoice entry, and that is where I'll make one aggressive statement also कि maybe 5 years from now accounting will not be done by accountants. Okay, accounting can be done by softwares directly, by OCR or bot technology. We will not need accountants to do accounting. Okay, today maybe we are charging some revenue, and like some part of our revenue is also accounting services, but maybe that will diminish slowly. Like your tax audit limit went on going out, the tax audit limit income may be reduced a little. GST audit, if it is not there, the income will reduce a little. Similarly, this also can possibly happen. And why do I say that? See, it is not today. 20 years back, Vodafone set up a shared service center in Ahmedabad, in Gujarat. Now, Vodafone in India works in 23 circles. So someone who is in Ahmedabad is a customer of Vodafone Gujarat circle. Someone who is in Karjat is a customer of Vodafone Maharashtra Goa circle, Karjat, Pune, Lonavala, etc. Someone who is sitting in Mumbai or Thane is a customer of Vodafone Mumbai circle. So Vodafone, there are 23 operating units with 23 CEOs and CFOs. They decided to set up the shared service center in Ahmedabad, and all vendors were instructed to send all their invoices directly to the accounts payable team in Ahmedabad. Now, when the invoices came, what happened is someone used to open the envelope, scan the invoice, and through optical character reader, the information was picked up and the accounting entry was passed. Now, what information can be picked up? So you tell your vendor that like you need to put your vendor code in the invoice. The moment you put the vendor code, the OCR reads that vendor code, and from the master it knows that this name is Murtuza Kachwala. He is an auditor. He provides services, and hence accordingly the entry will be like audit fees account debit to Murtuza Kachwala to whatever TDS payable. Tuck. And TDS at what rate? 194J, because in the this thing you would have written 194J professional 10% in the master. So masters become important, and on the basis of master it can be processed. Similarly, if someone is supplying raw material, then through OCR it will read and it will say like purchase account debit to so and so to GST liability input credit debit, tuck, and payable. Now, also the moment invoices are processed or scanned, or invoices are read, the scan is read. On the basis of a credit period, the payment due date is automatically calculated. Now, when Vodafone started doing this, like they started getting invoices where the letterhead was in Kannada or Tamil, okay, or the letterhead was in Gujarati. So they told the client, okay, this is A4, you have to have an A4 size English, here should be invoice number, here should be the vendor code, here should be the item code. And hence what becomes very, very important in our client also, where there is inventory, whether the purchase raw material, whether there is a finished goods, for each item code is very, very important. That is the master. For each vendor code is important. For each customer code is important. And updating of lot more information in the customer master is also very, very important. Now, Vodafone that time was doing 98.3% of invoice processing automatically 15-20 years back. and only those where there was overwriting or not typed clearly or not legible, that used to go into a suspense or cockpit, and someone would go into the cockpit and then manually pass the accounting entry. Okay. Subsequently, they moved to a newer and better technology where they said कि क्यों कुरियर करना है पूरे इंडिया से अहमदाबाद में, और कुरियर का पैसा भी क्यों खर्चा करना है, और उधर एक बंदा स्टेपलर खोल के स्कैन करता है, उसकी जरूरत ही नहीं है. तो अक्रॉस इंडिया वेंडर्स को यूजर आईडी एंड पासवर्ड कैन बी गिवन, and the vendor can upload their invoices automatically, and the moment they're uploaded, it comes into a particular mailbox or a particular box, automatically the RP or the OCR will open the invoice, read it, and punch the entry, and done. Now there are two things there. ERPs give you a lot of this thing, like you can read this invoice and park it instead of posting. So accounting entry automatically नहीं करना है तो भी आप park कर सकते हो. Then someone can go and see the invoice, check whether correct entry, and then say okay, and then the posting can happen. Or otherwise directly post करना है तो भी हो सकता है, कोई टेंशन नहीं है. So park and post facilities available in lot of ERPs. Like in goods receipt note, we said block inventory and free inventory. So there are lots and lots of features which are available in softwares which we use, but maybe we do not know. Okay, in the Vodafone case, I'll also talk about two more things and then I'll move ahead a little faster. See what they did. The moment invoices were scanned, on the basis of credit period, payment due date was calculated. They had 700 bank accounts. All the money from all the bank account came into a common pool account every day evening. And कल रात को कितना ड्यू है 12 बजे, उतना amount will be transferred from the common pool account to the payment account. And a file will come, a payment file will be generated and come to the user today, AP team, and the AP team will have to check the file and say okay. The moment they say okay, the next day 12 in the night, the account will be debited and all the vendor account will be credited. But that means what? If you want to make an electronic fund transfer or RTGS payment, you have to capture the bank account number, the branch, the IFC code, etc. into the master. And if it is captured in the master, then automatically payment will be done. And hence the master and the data which you capture becomes a lot more important. So we touched upon this. Let me also touch upon one more thing. Or otherwise I'll take that example later on. Okay, let me move ahead. So reporting and analysis. अगर डेटा प्रॉपरली कैप्चर्ड है तो आप काफी सारा एनालिसिस कर सकते हो कि लाइक व्हाट इज द टोटल परचेज ड्यूरिंग द ईयर, हाउ मेनी वेंडर्स, if your purchase is 50 crore rupees, how many vendor are more than 5 crore purchase and how many vendor are more than 1 crore purchase. If particular vendor is more than 1 crore or 5 crore purchase material vendor, then you may want to pick up some invoices and you may want to do the checking from there. Okay, then like say on the same product there are different vendors. What is the price? You may want to do a price comparison and see कि lowest price वाले को ज़्यादा दिया या कम दिया. So there are those type of analysis which you can do. Let me go to the last bucket, and which is the vendor management bucket. And the vendor management bucket again, like see if someone is using different type of cars like an MG Hector today, in an MG Hector there is a chat bot. Alexa, everyone knows Alexa, right? Alexa, switch on the music. Alexa, do this. Alexa, do that. And Alexa does that, right? Similarly, in an MG Hector, you can say start the music. It will start the music. You say start the AC. It will start the AC. You say open the sunroof. It opens it, and close the sunroof. It closes. So these are all chat bots which listen to what you have spoken, and they make sense out of it, and then the command is fired. Similarly, for vendor management, chat bots can also be used where the vendor can call up on the IVR and vendor can say invoice number so and so, and the chat bot can go into your accounting system, SAP, Oracle, see whether that invoice number is appearing or not, and then go back and say invoice not accounted. Or like say invoice accounted, but your payment due date is 10th of July, something like that. So the whole procure to pay cycle, there are web crawlers, there are Ariba type of system, there are OCR or RPA technology, there are data analytics, which is there in the reporting and analysis, which we'll talk about in the next slides. And then there are chat bots which can be used. So there is a whole range of things. And of course, there are document management thing, and there are like voice recording thing, which also we'll talk about as we go ahead. So all of these can be utilized. And if there are so many tools which are available, and if large companies like the Adanis and the Vodafone and the Bharti or Reliance are using it, why not smaller clients? So whether your client is a small manufacturing, he will also be interested in doing it because a lot of time, money, energy will be saved. Do we know the tools? Can we suggest those to our client? Can we implement or help them in implementing, and can we make consulting money out of it? The answer is yes. We'll have to adopt, and we'll have to understand, and we'll have to start doing it. let me proceed ahead a little. But before I go ahead, I'll stop here. Murtuza, any questions that we want to take now? Also, we can take a couple of them, and then I can go to data analytics.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, so members, those who have any questions, please unmute themselves and ask. Yeah.
From now, I want to now cover the data analytics. I'll talk about SQL, Python, R, and I'll also talk about like IDEA and HCL a little on this next 3-4 slides. I'll also talk about Tableau, etc. Then maybe we'll go to robotic process automation, and then we'll go to process mining tool as well as we progress. And then we'll talk about the audit tools also, like in audit, what are the different type of tools which can be used. See, if there is 1 or 2 questions here, I can take, or otherwise I can proceed ahead.
Yeah. On chat, there are no questions so far.
Okay. So let me now proceed ahead. See, friends, I know like this topic is a little offbeat. Okay, you may not be using it in your practice day to day, but I will try to make it as meaningful as possible. But when we talk about consulting opportunities, we'll need to know about newer things, and if we know about new things, then we'll be able to learn, go Google search, do a course, learn, and then only we'll be able to talk to a client and implement for them. So today I and Murtuza were discussing, and we thought like, let us bring various tools or various softwares on the table, so that then whoever wants to pick up whatever, they can pick it up. Okay, let me look at this whole process of procure to pay end to end again. So see, like while you do internal audit or while you do statutory audit also, what is very important कि आपका client का जो process है उसको आपको break करना चाहिए. If you know that vendor master में problem है, you can focus on that. If you know that purchase requisition, purchase order is the problem, focus on that. If you think there is something else, vendor evaluation or blacklisting is not being done, then you can focus on that. So where do you focus? And hence, the world is now moving towards organization, functions and department, within the functions and department processes, and within the processes these small sub processes or activities, and then trying to find out which activity there is a problem and where what tool or what can be done so that the client's work can become a lot more efficient. And the process mining tool also help us in identifying where there is a blockage, and we'll talk about process mining tool also. But before that, let us talk about data analytics. Now, in this procure to pay only, see, a client gives us data. We are not the accountant. We are just the auditor. We say like, I will download the data from your system. Client says, no, I will not give you access to the data, but I will send you the data on a mail. Data aa gaya mail pe. Now, due professional care. The standard essay says due professional care. Due professional care means at least see what was the first number, what is the last number, whether everything is in serial, nothing is missing. At least take the total of the purchase register and match with the ledger and see like whether everything has been given. You nothing is missing. You're not crunching or working on something which is half-hearted or which is wrong. So those are there. Now, so sequence check can be done. Similarly, there is something called a split PO. What is a split purchase order? So my limit is 50 lakh rupees. I can raise purchase order up to 50 lakh rupees. But Murtuza Gadiali is my friend. I wanted to give him order for 80 lakhs. So what I did is, and if it goes to my boss will say, get 3 quotation. Why are we giving to Murtuza Gadiali? Why are we not giving to X or Y or Z? So to avoid that, what I do is I raise purchase order of 45 lakh rupees on him today. And after 10 days or 15 days, I raise another purchase order of 35 lakh rupees on him. So I give him 80 lakh rupees, but I split that. Now, if you split that in your statutory audit, how will you capture? एक vendor में जाके एक employee में जाके देखना पड़ेगा. But by writing a query, what you can do is you can say same employee raising purchase order on same vendor. मतलब me, Kachwala, raising purchase order on the vendor ABC, all will be picked up. It will be matched with my authority metrics table कि मेरा authority metrics 50 लाख था, 40 लाख से 50 लाख के बीच में 20%, 10%, whatever you define, जितने भी purchase order है, that will be picked up and it will be given to you. Then you see whether they are really split PO or not, and if there is a split PO, go and do the audit of that. Similarly, in tax audit, we are required to say like payment made on holidays, bank holidays will be disallowed. Payment made on Sundays will be disallowed. So how will you check? आपके पास डेट है टैली में, डे तो नहीं है कि संडे था कि नहीं. 26 जनवरी है तो मालूम है 26 जनवरी, लेकिन संडे है कि नहीं मालूम नहीं है. तो यहाँ पे क्या करो आप, यू जस्ट राइट, पुट ऑल द डेट कैलेंडर and you write the query on every Sunday. If Saturday office is closed, Saturday will also come out. If you say कि my warehouse closes at 8 और 8 बजे के बाद material issue नहीं हो सकता है, तो anything that is issued after 8 in the night, that will be picked up and it will be given to you. So what query do you want to write? It is important what query you want to write. On the same day, multiple payment to the same vendor. Why would anyone go and pay to the same vendor 10,000 and 5,000, two different check? Why not pay 15,000 together? अगर दो बिल भी है तो एक ही पेमेंट करो ना, तो वो निकल के आ सकता है. तो like against one invoice there are multiple payments. Against like so there are different things which can be picked up and it can be done. Now I will raise one more thing. All of a sudden a particular bank account mein money starts going, you can pick that up. Okay, now negative value ka purchase. So that means the purchase was for 10,000, but some earlier rejection was 12,000. So they adjusted the 12 and they booked purchase for minus 2,000. Can a purchase or expense be booked in negative? The answer is no. Immediately that should come out to your mind. But if you write the query that like debit entries wherever expense or so and so with negative value, it will pick up and it will give you the list so that you can go and start doing it. Let me go ahead a little. So friends, now all these queries in a procure to pay process, there will be 80, 100 queries. ये सब queries idea software में inbuilt है. You just need to buy the idea software and you can use it for your statutory audit, for your internal audit. ICI at Delhi has tied up with Kachwala Canada, which is a parent for idea software globally, and practicing CA with firm registration number can buy the idea software for 50,000 plus GST in the first year one time, and then the renewal fees is 10,000 plus GST. Now, one time 50,000 is a little high, chalo, but every year 10,000 is not high. And if there are multiple clients, you can get the data, you can put it inside and not only procure to pay, order to cash, interest calculation, depreciation calculation, deferred tax calculation, anything and everything, whatever they could think of, they've written the queries. But there are a lot of videos which are available, and looking at the videos, you can learn the coding and you can do the coding yourself. Okay. Now, that is one. But other than that, there are tools like SQL, which is a database solution. Then there is Python, and then there is open source like R and Python are open source, where you don't have to pay for the license. You can just buy and you can use it. Okay. Now, I will talk about Python and R also, but before that, let me also tell you that WIRC has scheduled a 3-part IT course for practicing CAs for all of us. Part 1, we are teaching SQL, Python and R, 60 hours, 9,000 rupees only. First batch launch, 2 दिन में 30 participant full हो गया. Batch खत्म भी हो गया, excellent reviews. Second batch already started. Third batch we are launching on 18th of July. Part 2 of this is 5,000 rupees, 40 hours, Tableau and Power BI. And part 3 is OCR and RPA. 50 hours, 9,000 rupees. 150 hours training covering all these tools for something like 23,000, which you will not get for anything less than 1 lakh or 2 lakh rupees whenever you go to any other institute. Okay. So you want to learn, you can pick up anything. You can do one part, part 2, part 3, part 1, whatever you want. Not necessarily all 3 are required to be done. Now, by either using an R or SQL or Python, or using an idea or using an Excel to a certain extent, Excel has got limitation. You can do various analytics. Gap in sequence can be done. अगर चेक नंबर इशू कर रहा है आपका क्लाइंट अभी भी और चेक का एक सीरीज है और सीरीज मैच होकर कोई नया नंबर आ गया तो वो भी पिकअप हो सकता है. Okay, now we all know that 21,250 ka invoice hai and the client paid 21,250 rupees was not paid. Now all of a sudden you see that in a particular bank account someone is paying 250, 500, 420, 410. That means there is a problem. Those type of things can also be picked up and given to you. Holiday activity, negative activity, multiple payment on the same day can be given. Average payment to each vendor in a day can also be calculated. Here I am showing you some dashboards, and the analytics can be done using the Python and Tableau and Idea. Idea can also give you dashboard. For dashboarding, you can use something called as Power BI, Tableau, etc. I will talk about 3-4 more examples, then again stop. So in your whole payment, अगर आपको ये देखना है कि 1 करोड़ के ऊपर का पेमेंट कितना है, 1 लाख से लेके 50 लाख तक का पेमेंट कितना है, हाईएस्ट वेंडर कौन है. So multiple type of things you can see here. If you want to see that to the same vendor duplicate payment for the same vendor quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, 2013, 14, 15, how much it was paid, you can. How many payments were made, different type of analysis, different type of tools, different type of dashboards will be available. Okay. Similarly, like you want to see volume. Okay, like of the total purchase, which vendor took 50% or 60% or 10% or 20%. Why you did not have anyone for a single product? Why did you go to only one vendor? Did you have multiple vendors? So those also you can see. Similarly, during the year, now if you see here on the left hand side, the orange graph, there was one particular vendor where in 2008, 9, 10, 11, there was no transaction. All of a sudden, 13, it goes up, and 14, it goes up. So if there are some accounts which are closed, and all of a sudden you start buying from that vendor, you can pick that up, and you can also start using your analytics and going and doing the voucher checking for that particular vendor. Similarly, in a vendor, 10 crore rupees purchase, more than 5 crores, how many payment, more than 50 lakhs, how many payment, more than 5 lakhs, how many payment, etc., etc. So you can write those buckets and you can get those type of graph also, the dark green, light green, yellow, and red. So where there are big payments, you can focus on those big payments while you are doing your checks. Okay. So similarly, now there are lots and lots of these queries which can be run. But let me also tell you, okay, like assuming now in a particular client, you had a particular client where they had retail outlet, a McDonald's. Okay. And you had to do audit for 40 outlet. किसी के पास वैसा भी होएगा कि 40 जगह पे audit करना है. Now you normally keep a track because tax audit के टाइम पे अगर एक outlet भी रह गया या कुछ हो गया तो penalty लगेगा. So you keep a track कि data received or not. Then like whether the first level of review is done or not, whether queries sent to the client, then whether queries have come back from the client, then second level review, then whether it is put into the format or template or not, whether client has signed or not, whether I have signed or not. There are 10, 15, 20 things which we monitor during a tax audit season for the tax audit client, for the GST audit client, for the company audit client. Use a macro in Excel, use a tab, Power BI type of a thing, and create a template where you freeze certain fields, keep certain fields open, tell your person, your employee, your article clerk to put the date, data received, he puts the date. Automatically the status will get updated that the data is received. The moment it says it's sent query sent to client, it will get updated. So there are a lot of things which can be updated and the tracker can keep on available. So you don't need to keep on writing on a board in your office or on a paper or a writing pad. Your team can keep on doing it on the Google Drive. They can keep on updating the data of what has happened, and on every day morning you will know कि कितना क्लाइंट का रिटर्न है, किसको अलोकेट किया था, उसमें कितने का डेटा आया, कितने का डेटा बाकी है, कितने का ड्राफ्ट वर्किंग हो गया, कितने का रिटर्न अभी अपलोड हो गया और कितने का बिल पेंडिंग है बनाने का. So simple application for our office also using a Power BI or an Excel we can do. Okay, so that is one. So I think we covered the data analytics, but there are so many tools in data analytics. Let me go ahead a little because I still have a lot to cover. So we will talk about process mining briefly, then we'll talk about robotic process automation, and then will I go to the audit methodology. And in audit also, like in doing statutory audit, internal audit, if there are large companies or even mid-sized companies, there are different type of tools which are available. We'll talk about those tools as well. So see, there are process mining tools, and I've got one slide where I've got name of the vendors also of these tools. So you can take those vendor names and you can do the Google search, and Murtuza will forward the presentation to all of you in a PDF this time. Process mining, what happens is like the client has a process. Now, whether that process which the client wants to follow, whether that employee is following that process or not, that can be checked. That is number one. Number two, if a particular process is being followed or is being configured and there is a better or best process available in the market, then comparison with the other process and saying that okay, where there is a gap, and if there is a process blockage, then that also can be picked up. So what is the process? Is there a good process? Are you following the best process or not? And whatever is documented is being processed or not? Those type of things can be checked by the process mining tool. Now, if I were to give you some examples so understand in procure to pay, मतलब परचेज ऑर्डर रेज हो गया, परचेज रिक्विजिशन रेज हो गया 1 जून को, परचेज ऑर्डर बनता है 10 जून को. Why there is a 10 days gap? And in how many cases there is a 10-day gap? And between the requisition order, it should be done in 2 days. Why it is taking 3 days or 4 days or 5 days or 10 days? That will be picked up. Order is placed and the delivery date is captured. Then beyond delivery date, when the material came, if first the material is received and the quality check has to be done within 48 hours, whether it is being done or not. Okay. Now, if there is a purchase order which is issued, we have been always been taught in our curriculum, like if I am issuing a purchase order, then no one else should go and do the alteration to the purchase order or make a change purchase order. So, agar like if someone else has done and amended the purchase order, that can also be picked up. In how many cases purchase order have been amended, and for amendment, how many days are required additionally? Means the initial purchase order is issued on 1st of June, but the amended purchase order was issued on 8th of June. That means 8 days you spent only on doing amendment to the purchase order, and hence your material got delayed. So a process mining tool picks up or breaks it into one activity, creates an activity ID, and then picks up the date and time stamp and creates a graph कि हर transaction का how did it follow, how many days it took at which stage, and where there is a problem. So when you look at all the transactions together in your client's organization, you will know where are the blockages or where are the problems, and you can see some graph down there, although they are small. But if you go to Celonis or PAF Now or Rockstar, put in Google and go to their website, you will have a lot of videos on process mining, order to cash, procure to pay. I did not want to show the video today and bore you, but videos are freely available and you can go and see so that you will understand a lot more. But again, what does process mining do? So process mining tool, just like when I was going and interviewing a person to find out where did the process start and where did it end. Now that interview is not required. If all the data is available and you use the process mining tool, the whole process, how did it work, can be picked up automatically. So the compliance check, which we were normally doing, is now not required to be done manually. Similarly, the process mining tool also does a lot of analytics in terms of sequence check, missing, date comparison, GRN versus invoice quantity, etc., and all of those. If some material was sent for rework, did it come back, how many days, etc., those analysis also. And the process mining tool also helps you in giving graphs and charts and various type of diagram. So it also doubles up as a data analytics tool in a particular way, although understanding the process, but also data analytics and also a viewing solution. Now, let me go to robotic process automation. And in RPA, I will give you 2 examples. Sorry. In RPA, although see on the slide I have put, there are 3 colors. The dark green color is like very high automation is possible using RPA. The blue color is like medium automation possible through RPA, and the orange are the colors where automation is not possible using an RPA. Human will have to do the work. Okay. But even before I go and explain this slide to you of procure to pay, I will give you 2 other examples. So one large organization, ICICI Prudential, and I'm just getting some vague name. Okay. ICICI Prudential has got 50,000 employees across India. Her city, town, whether it is Thana, Kalyan, Kandivali, or Amderi, they have an office. They have the guys who are going and selling the insurance policy. They are all employees. They wanted to know whether these 50,000 employees have taken COVID vaccination or not. और किसका एक भी डोज नहीं हुआ, किसका फर्स्ट डोज हो गया, किसका सेकंड डोज बाकी है, और कभी उसका ड्यू है. Now, so they were telling their employees to send the COVID certificate. Then someone was opening the certificate and typing it in Excel, and then preparing dashboard and then presenting to the management. So a lot of efforts were going, and 5 to 6 people were only doing that full time. So they approached a consultant, and what the consultant did, the consultant said, okay, like you need to create one mail ID, vaccination@icici.com, okay, and tell all your employees to send the vaccine certificate on that mail ID. The moment vaccine certificate comes into the mail on that mailbox, robotic process automation RPA opens that certificate, reads the information, and maps it into the database. So what did I want from the client? From the client, I wanted employee name, employee number, male or female, location, department. ये इंफॉर्मेशन मेरे को मिल गई, मैंने एक टेबल में डाल दिया. मेरे को एक डेटाबेस सोल्यूशन चाहिए था, SQL. So I picked up the SQL database solution and I created a database. Then I used a front-end bot RPA to open the certificates, read the information, and put it here. Now, from there, what it picked up, like when was the vaccination done? When is the vaccination due after 84 days? Whether Covishield or Covaxin, and it picked up first dose or second dose and populated. And automatically colorful graphs and charts were prepared, and every 15 minutes it gets refreshed, and every 1 hour the mail goes to the management. Khatam, automated. How much does it cost? The consultant charges more than 1000 employee है तो 100 rupees per employee for 1 year, मतलब 1 लाख रुपया खाली चार्ज कर रहे हैं. और 1 लाख रुपए में कंसल्टेंट क्या कर रहा है? They are giving 1 license of RPA, 1 license of SQL, and creating this program and implementing, and then the bot will keep on doing life for the whole year, right? So it is that easy using bots. Now let me give you one accounting example using RPA or bot. बैंक reconciliation. CA फॉर्म में आर्टिकल क्लार्क बैठ के क्या करता है? बैंक स्टेटमेंट और बैंक बुक लेता है, डेबिट में क्या है उसको स्टेटमेंट का क्रेडिट से चेक करता है, इधर क्रेडिट में क्या है उसके डेबिट से चेक करता है, और चेक नंबर के बेसिस पे, इंस्ट्रूमेंट के नंबर के बेसिस पे एक एक अमाउंट को टैली करता है. एंड देन वी कम टू वन शीट विच सेज चेक डिपॉजिटेड बट नॉट क्लियर्ड, check issued but not presented, bank charges debited by so and so, and then we make a bank reconciliation starting from bank book to bank statement balance. And the article clerk spends 1.5 days to clear reconciliation of 800 line item. Now the RPA bot can do the bank reconciliation 800 line item less than 1 minute 55 seconds, and you need to just write the coding. So while doing the coding, you will say that, okay, the moment you say run, it will go to your bank portal, put your user ID, password, download the bank statement, save it into a folder, exit, go to your SAP Oracle Tally, put your user ID, password, download your bank book, exit, save, and start doing the comparison. And it will give you a bank reconciliation in less than 1 minute. And if you don't want to share your user ID, password, then you will say, enter karte, search for mail line, subject line, bank book and bank statement. So it will go into your mailbox and see in the subject line there is the bank book and bank statement, it will pick up. Or you say go to so and so location and take the folder and see this thing and start, it will start. So in RPA there are only 3 organizations who sell the RPA bot as of today: UiPath, Automation Anywhere, and Blue Prism. UiPath का भी आप वीडियोस बहुत अवेलेबल है, ऑटोमेशन एनीवेयर का भी वीडियो अवेलेबल है. ऑटोमेशन एनीवेयर यूनिवर्सिटी भी वो लोग कोर्स भी कंडक्ट करते हैं. RPA बहुत काम लगेगा. अगर anyone does a course in RPA, they can do lots of automation. Claim processing can be done, payroll processing can be done. फार्मा कंपनी में सेल्समैन जाता है करने के लिए. Now when a salesman goes from Bombay to Vapi, उसको नाइट स्टे इज 1000 rupees. When he goes to Surat, 2000 rupees. When he goes to Ahmedabad, 4000 rupees. Depending on the city, the amount is fixed. For a salesman, it is so much. For a sales manager, it is so much. For a VP, it is so much. Table is fixed. चेक क्या करने का क्लेम में? अच्छा, दिन का खाने का 500 रुपया, 500 के ऊपर तो नहीं गया. लॉन्ड्री का पैसा नहीं देने का, वो तो नहीं क्लेम किया. इनवॉइस क्लेम आएगा, वाउचर आएगा, स्कैन होएगा, it will read and it will clear the voucher, and automatically it happens. Okay. Similarly, let me come to this slide now. Vendor ka performance measurement can be done. Okay. But talking to vendor, can a bot do? The answer is no. Okay. Similarly, creating purchase order and sending, the vendor can do, bot can do. Okay. Creating report and sending and distributing, the bot can do. So in statutory audit also, if you say that download the FA details from the FA register or pick up the addition, this is the rate of depreciation, calculate the depreciation as per Income Tax Act, it will calculate the depreciation as per Companies Act, it will calculate. For each block, give me what is the difference, it will do it. For deferred tax, if you write the formula, it will calculate the deferred tax and it will give you the deferred tax, whether it is asset or liability. So you have to keep on writing what you want, what information you've taken from where, what to be compared with what, and what query, like what is to be done, it will do it. Now, going to my earlier bank reco thing, I will also tell you one more thing. Ki kitni bar while writing the narration, people say OT. Now, if it is 30 June and it is OT, it will go and say overtime for the month of June. If it is SAL, then it is the salary for the month of February if it is on the 20th February. So that is what also the bot can do. So that was on the RPA. Let me go ahead a little. Before I go to the audit and the audit tools, which is the last part of my presentation, 35 more minutes, but I think we are on time and we'll be able to take 10 minutes for questions. But see, like, let me stop here and summarize for a minute first. The first thing is SAP, Oracle, or any other ERPs. There is lots of opportunities if you want to build a career. That is number one. Number two, if you want to do analytics, data analytics, you can use idea type of thing for a small and medium organization. Take it and use it, and you can do a lot of work in idea as well. But you can learn SQL, Python, R, and you can do a lot of this thing, database or a lot of queries, etc. You can use Power BI and Tableau for doing a lot of dashboards, analytics, presentation, and also analytics, etc. You can use a process mining tool end-to-end, and you can use RPA for a lot of things. You can use OCR technology also. There are tools like Ariba for procurement, and there are web crawler type of a thing, and there is a lot more which can be done. So using any of these tools, a lot of consulting work can be done for client where you can give them suggestions and a lot of improvements. Okay. So with that, let me stop here for 1 minute. Murtuza, if there are any questions in the chat box or anyone wants to type or anyone wants to unmute, I'm happy to take a couple of questions, 1 or 2 here. Or otherwise, we'll go to the audit tools now, which is the next one. Just give me 1 minute, okay? 1 minute.
There are no questions on the chat, but if any member has any questions, please unmute and you can raise your questions, or you can even put it on chat.
So while the question comes in, I'll again stop wherever you want me to, but let me proceed ahead. So see, like in today's day and time, what is important? Agar tally bhi hai client ke liye, and now you know that in tax audit also you are required to give inventory details. And but in many clients, inventory item-wise details are not available. They don't create manual register or don't even in tally they create anything. Again, for GST purpose, the right rate to be picked up for your trading goods. Okay, it is important, and hence I am saying that for each item, an inventory master. So an item master or a customer master or an employee master is a master data. When you make a purchase requisition or order, that is a transaction data, and the difference between the two, like the number or whatever, that is a like the reference data. Now the only thing is the volume, the growth in the computing power, the volume of data comes from multiple places, data goes to multiple places, distributed computing. Now information is again shared with so many people. If you talk about an Ola or Uber or Swiggy, someone logs in through a mobile, someone logs in through an iPad, someone logs in through somewhere. And an Ola cab, there is only one software or one cloud, and someone in Delhi also logs into it, and Mumbai also logs into it, and someone from like can go and log in from anywhere. So like from where do you log, where do you do, what type of softwares, what type of hardware, and the different type of the whole integrated network. And again, various softwares which are there in various. Samsung will have something different, and iPhone will have something different. But converting everything into one and then making it a meaningful data, that is very, very important. And hence they say data is the new oil, and there is a lot of work which you can do with data cleansing, data masters, and data analytics, etc. So there are two important things which I want to say here. The speed at which the businesses are changing, technology is evolving, and businesses are adopting technology. We'll have to change. If we don't change and if we don't adopt technology, then there will be trouble. Let me talk about now the whole audit journey, and I'm sure all of you will agree with me that like whenever we are doing an audit, even if you are doing a company audit, a private limited, public limited company audit or a tax audit, you want to see and do a risk assessment कि ये client में क्या risky है. While doing the check, what should I do? Data बहुत ज़्यादा है, or yeah, data are more than 6 months. Yeah, like the sale was 1 crore, but data are 50 lakh rupees. Or inventory is too high. Whether inventory is slow moving or not, whether it is properly valued or not, whether expenses are overbooked. So there are a lot of these type of things which we do in a small client also. So in large organizations and in internal audit, while if anyone is in internal audit and anyone is doing consulting, what is important? See, like in an organization, even if it is a manufacturing company or whether it is a hotel, whether it is a restaurant, whether it is a real estate construction company, you are required to prepare a list of all the processes and the sub processes. Like 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 processes are there. Which one is high risk, which one is medium risk, which one is low risk, and within that what activities are high, medium, low risk, and then accordingly identify where you want to focus your energy while you are doing your audit. So there are ready-made databases which are available where they will tell you कि like real estate construction में क्या क्या processes है, क्या क्या sub processes है, what are the activities and what are the risks there. And they even give you policy procedures. So that is where we talk about the risk registers or risk maps which are readily available. There are tools which will give you okay, like what is an impact and what is a likelihood on a scale of 1 to 3 or 1 to 5. So like compliance है, तो compliance में अगर एक notice आया TDS का, so then that is a low risk. But if there is a one delay, then it is a medium risk. And if there is more than one payment of penalty, then medium, and 2 penalties, then it is high. Similarly, in company law, in X or Y, reputation risk, a coverage in local paper could be low, a coverage in like statewide paper could be medium, and a coverage on the national media could be high. So the reputation risk is defined, the compliance risk is defined, and the financial risk, turnover 5 crore है तो materiality अलग होएगा और 500 crore है तो अलग होएगा. Now, likelihood, whether it happens in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, every month, every year, अगर PF delay is there on multiple months, what is the chance of PF delay? Basis the last experience of this client, ये तो time पे बढ़ता ही नहीं. So okay, then that becomes your likelihood. So that again, there are social intelligence. People know like if there is cash handling, then there could be a chance of misappropriation. In a Bata showroom across India, they definitely know like shoes का चोरी कम होएगा, लेकिन शू पॉलिश और ब्रश का चोरी ज्यादा हो सकता है, या लेस का शॉर्टेजेस हो सकता है. People pick up lace and put it into the box and they don't bill for it. Okay, maybe. So this is a social intelligence which is there. Now, if there is an intelligence available, then accordingly you can utilize that factor to see like what you should audit during the course of this audit this year at the new Bata showroom. So those type of social intelligence are also captured in some dashboard solutions or software. So for risk assessment, there are all of these which are available where you put your industry, your client name, the turnover, etc. And it will tell you that on the basis of the turnover, on the basis of the purchase, on the basis of sale, on the basis of number of invoices, which process is high risk, medium risk, low risk, etc. Okay. Similarly, when we talk about sampling, see, you know, any audit, the basic foundation is standard on auditing essay. And there is an essay on sampling, there is an essay on analytic procedures, and there is an essay on IT environment of the organization, and there is an essay on understanding the nature of business. There are 4 essays which becomes very, very important when you talk about sampling. Similarly, अगर कोई internal audit कर रहा है तो there are standard on internal audit SIA which also talks about sampling, analytic procedures, etc. Now, friends, how are samples required to be selected? So samples are required to be selected on statistical sampling method. And since we were on procure to pay, in procure to pay, how the sample is required to be selected? I want to pick up purchase order. And the first purchase order for this year was 1, and the last purchase order is 20,000. That means 20,000 purchase orders were issued during the course of the year. And if I decide to select 100 as sample, then 20,000 divided by 100, my nth number will be 200. Now, first random number is 3. Then the second will be 203, 403, 603, 803. Now, this 3 or 203 or 403 number ka jo purchase order hai, whether that is 1 rupee or 1 lakh rupee or 1 crore rupees, I will have to check that end to end. Now, that is how you select the statistical samples for everything. The standard very clearly says that sample size depends on frequency of control. अगर yearly control है तो one sample has to be taken. Book closure at the end of the year, finalization. Bank reconciliation, monthly control है तो minimum 2, maximum 3. Daily recurring control है, purchase bill, sale bill, bank payment, minimum 25, maximum 40. If you use less than 25 sample, you will be negligent of duty. But you have to decide. These are all guidance. As a CF firm, if my firm is ABCN company, then I should decide कि 5 करोड़ तक का सेल होएगा तो 50 सैंपल लेंगे, 5 करोड़ से 25 करोड़ होएगा तो 100 सैंपल लेंगे. Now, if I am going to select 100 sample, then I should say that like in 100 will say 50 random and 50 substantial, statistical. Now, what is random sampling? Random sampling is जिसका individual product का price high है, जो vendor से बहुत ज्यादा purchase किया है, X, Y, Z, that you will pick up and random. या someone says कि ये vendor तो हमारा promoter का दोस्त है, तो उसका sample उठाएंगे. So those are random. But statistical sample has to be done on a statistical sampling method. And if we don't select on statistical sampling method, then how will we give us this thing that it is representative of the population? Because the sample has to be representative of the population. Otherwise, it can be said that you have not applied due diligence and you not selected the right type of sample, and hence you did not do the audit properly. So now, idea type of tool, you put the number, okay, my first purchase order is this, last purchase order is this, my purchase requisition number is this is this, so many invoices, so many this thing, so many banks, so many RICO. It will automatically tell you how much sample and which sample. It will pick up the statistical sample and give it to you. So that is one. Now, once you select the sample, you are required to use a compliance checklist. And the compliance checklist is purchase requisition number, date, amount, quantity, purchase order number, vendor name, this, then GRN, then this. End-to-end process was followed or not. In everything, 3 quotations were there or not. Everything GRN was prepared or not. Everything quality check was done or not. In any one, whether GRN quantity exceeded the PO quantity, whether the purchase requisition first or purchase order first. तो परचेज रिक्विजिशन अगर 1 तारीख है तो परचेज ऑर्डर 2 या 3 ही हो सकता है. परचेज ऑर्डर के बाद अगर रिक्विजिशन किया है, so the whole purpose is defeated. वैसे ही goods received note, मटेरियल आ गया, GRN बन गया और फिर ऑर्डर प्लेस किया तो पर्पस इज डिफीटेड. So you can get the whole data, 100% population in an Excel and also compare. You can use tools like Tableau, Power BI to also do the comparison. Power BI. You can even use database solution like SQL, but you can even use ready-made software like IDEA to do all these analytics. Okay, so analytic, there is a standard on analytic procedures. And friends, when you do private limited company or public limited company, we write that we, on the basis of a sample selection and on the basis of analytic procedures and on the basis of we comply with all the standard of auditing. What do you mean by complying with standard on auditing if you've not done analytic procedures or if you've not done sample selection and statistical sampling? So any of these can help us in selecting statistical sampling, doing 100% analytics on the population, OCR based scanning, and this thing we had already talked about. Process mining tool, we talked about that end-to-end process verification can be done using a process mining tool. You can pick up those summaries and you can put it into your file and say this is a working paper. And it is not very easy. See, there are 2 brothers and one brother, elder brother, takes care of the whole business throughout, and the younger brother is like was not actively involved into the business. And then all of a sudden the younger brother knows that after 5 years the elder brother has taken purchases from his relative, brother-in-law or someone, and he is paid excess price. And then he goes and starts asking his brother, and there's a fight between the 2 brothers. And the younger brother, someone says, go and file a case against the CA in the institute. And he goes and files a case against the statutory auditor. and the institute will send you notice to say, did you see whether it was purchased at arm's length or at the market price or not? Did you select a sample? While selection of sample, why this purchase did not get selected? Okay, on statistical basis, it did not get selected, very good. But otherwise, you will have to say, how did you select your sample? And if you show how did you select the sample, then like, did you ask for 3 quotations and comparative statement? And if no, then what audit did you do? And if you did not do the audit, then you are negligent of your duty. Okay. So that is where it is required, although we don't do it, but it is required. So whether the fees is 1,000 or 10,000 or 1 lakh rupees, the essays are applicable and they will have to be complied with. Let me go to the process mining. The process walkthrough tools. Process mining we talked about. There are Celonis and likes, and I'm giving you the name in the next slide now. Data discovery, there is a lot of things. The voice analytics, let me talk about, and then let me talk about the virtual inspection. See, like in this pandemic time last year, physical verification was not possible. So people have used drones to do physical verification of inventory. The drone can go into your warehouse and it can take pictures of the rack with the boxes. And the drone can even, if you fit into the OCR reader into the drone can even read the OCR, like all the barcodes, and it can tell you what is the quantity and which item. If the client adopts barcoding properly and item-wise code is there, then the barcode can also be read by the barcode reader, which can be fit into the drone. Okay, and the physical verification can be done. Otherwise, the drone can go and do the photographs and give it to you. Now, for physical verification of inventory, people have also used Google glasses. तो मतलब ये ग्लास है, ग्लास पहन के you need to, a person who is on the warehouse में जो बंदा है, आपका ऑडिटर नहीं जा सकता है, आपका क्लाइंट का फैक्ट्री है अंकलेश्वर में. You tell the warehouse guy to go and stand in front of the rack, and the Google glass will capture the image and it will keep on giving it to you on your computer, where you will know what is the item name, what is the item code, and you can keep on mapping it with the physical book stock, and you can see how much is the physical quantity. And people have used these Google glasses. You can do the Google search and you can see the videos for them as well. How does it work and what are the companies who are selling it? Coming back to the drone, the Mumbai police also use the drone, and I'm sure you would have seen on the TV. Dharavi is such a huge area. The police could not go inside the Dharavi because they were worried like they will also catch COVID. So they're sitting on the main road outside near the science station. Now they used drones, and when the drones went inside, the drones took picture and children were playing cricket inside. So where they were playing cricket, the police started going inside and making announcements saying that go inside your house and don't play cricket, it is not allowed. So I'm saying if the police can use the drone, why we cannot? And drones can be used, like say if there is a real estate construction client and the client agar loda builder ke side par se ek banda niche gir gaya or something happens to him, it will be there in the paper, the police will come, the municipality will come, they'll stop the work, and there will be huge delay, RERA consequences, delay in giving possession, etc., and bad reputation. And again, the life is lost and a lot of penalty and money will have to be paid. So Lodha says, I have given a car, I have given a loft, I have given a helmet. I told my guy to wear the helmet, but he is not wearing. So the drone, you can keep on taking the pictures and giving it to the owner, and the owner can then keep on saying, why don't you do it? Similarly, in a manufacturing company, जब भी welding के time पे welding glasses पहनना पड़ता है, पहना है कि नहीं, इसका भी photo drone ले सकता है. So drone can take lot of pictures. Drone आजकल जाके नीचे ये भी देखता है कि जमीन के अंदर रे डाल के कि उसके अंदर कितना, इतनी लैंड के अंदर कितना कोल्ड निकलेगा या कितना सिल्वर निकलेगा और क्या डेप्थ पे है. So those type of softwares are also fit, and drones go and do that also. So that was on the virtual inspection. Let me come to voice analysis. There are so many call center. Everyone has got a bank account. Everyone has got a card, credit card, and we call up the call center. Although there is a lot of things which get now answered through the IVR automatically, but there are like guys who read or listen to your calls and they answer. So like there are customer service agents. For a Standard Chartered credit card, there are 2,000 customer service agents. Now 2,000 agents, 12 hours, 10 hours, 8 hours, they kept on taking call after call. Now the management wants to do the audit, whether they did the calls correctly, whether they answered properly or not, whether they satisfy the customer correctly or not, whether they did not take any bribe, whether they did not pass unnecessary discounts. So then 2,000 auditors will be required to listen to it. So now there are software like Record Sure, where like all the recordings can be read, and it will listen to all the words. When the call was started, he said, "Good morning, sir." At the end, it says, "Thank you, sir." So those type of words were used or not. Whether someone started shouting, so agar volume bad gaya, so that also will be captured. If there are some bad word or cuss word which are defined inside, then the software will see whether those cuss words or bad words are used or not. If there is a discount or a waiver or a this or that, then those words will be picked up and only those calls can be listened by the auditor then. So voice analytics can also be used in internal audit, etc. And you can help your client and tell them to implement. Integrated analytics, continuous control monitoring and analytics as a service. What people are doing and what we can also do is, like say you buy an idea software and like just an example, a Byculla CPE study circle. Byculla CPE study circle decides that we'll buy one idea license and we'll put in Byculla CPE office, we'll put that one desktop and we'll put the idea license there. Now, any member who is a member of Byculla CPE can come, bring the client data in a pen drive, put it into this, run the idea, do the analytics for procure to pay, order to cash, and take it back home. And then on the way of the analytics, go and run the query and do the reporting. It can be done, right? So similarly, you as a chartered accountant can buy, learn, write queries, and tell your clients to give the data on your cloud or wherever software or Google Drive or whatever way. You can run those queries for them and give them the analytic this thing, and they will pay you money. So there are organizations who are giving analytics as a service, and for each query charging 10,000, 15,000, 20,000. So now dynamic dashboards. We also talked about Power BI, Tableau, even the process mining tool. There are a lot of colorful, designful dashboards which are there. Then there are workflow automation. Like I said, like if a maker does something, it goes to a checker. After the checker says approved, well, like the team lead raises a purchase requisition, department S, it goes into his bucket, department S says approved, then it goes to the procurement bucket. Procurement, when someone says approved, then it goes to automatically to the vendor. So these type of workflows can be designed in any software, any solution, anywhere. NPL based natural language process based report writing tools are available. Inventory you pick up, say 30 crore rupees, more than 1 month so much, more than 3 months so much, more than 6 months so much, non-moving, not moved for 6 months so much, not moved for 12 months so much. You give all the information and this tool will automatically write the report for you that of the total inventory on 31st March 2021, more than 6 months or so much, more than 12 months or so much, and as per the company's policy, this is required to be written off or a provision is required to be made. Okay. Here there is a slow-moving inventory and it supposedly appears that this was excess purchases or not required purchases were made. So whatever English around there is ready-made available in this software, and the basis the information that you give, the software can write the report. And once the report is written, then again and again, if you keep on giving the information, that same report format can be used year after year. Okay. So now on all these, the name of the companies or name of the tools. Okay. So like there is a on process mining, there is a Celonis, Pafna, Rockstar. In like RPA, there is a UiPath, etc. There is ClickView, Tableau, etc. I'm sure ClickView, Tableau people have used. There is a Kira. Okay, let me talk about Kira also. Kira is a document management or a document reading software. So like statutory audit report 2020 ka tha. Your staff goes and copies it and makes it 2021 and makes some changes somewhere and gives you a report. And you sit and read the report word by word, multiple pages, Caro, company, this, that, etc., etc. And the 3CB, 3CD, etc. You put both the document into a folder and run the Kira. Kira will tell you where there are changes. So similarly, if your client has got a standard agreement, कि कोई भी vendor रहेगा उसके हाथ में ये agreement enter करना है. And when your client gives it to the vendor says, "No, I am Reliance, so I will give you my agreement." Someone says, "I will give you my agreement." Now there are 300 vendors and there are 200 different contracts. Now you want to find out in this contract arbitration का clause क्या है, litigation का clause क्या है, या penalty का clause क्या है. So then you can put those words, litigation, arbitration, penalty, and the document management software like Kira will go and search and will give you those paragraphs. It will highlight so that you don't need to run those 500, 600 pages or 50 pages again and again and read it. It will immediately, whatever you want can be given. Let me give you one live example. So like one large organization in India has a shared service center and they have operations across globe. जर्मन में एग्रीमेंट जर्मनी में होता है, इटली में इटालियन लैंग्वेज में होता है, हर जगह पे अलग अलग लैंग्वेज था. नाउ दे वांटेड टू सी IFRS 16 का कंप्लायंस लीज अकाउंटिंग. So we used converter to convert from different languages to English. Converters are available free of cost. You can use the converters, and there are licensed products also. You can use the converter to convert from different languages to English. The exact grammar will not come, but all the information gets converted into English in a way. For IFRS compliance, what did we want? So we used the bot to pick up principal, number of years lease, rate of interest, starting date, end date, EMI amount, XYZ, and we prepared a dashboard where it went in the database, it picked up. So every agreement was converted into English. This information was picked up and it was put there. And then we wrote formula, and on the basis of the formula, we evaluated whether they were complying with the lease accounting or they were not complying with the lease accounting. Now, otherwise, manually, how much time it would have been taken? So the client appointed, and you can go and do something like that. So if there are tools, you can use the tools and you can do a lot of work for the client. Okay, let me go ahead. I think this is my last slide, and then I can stop. So friends, as we talk about today, and on this slide, I'll talk only about audit and even continuous control monitoring and a lot of consulting opportunities. I'm not talking about accounting now. See, the first one on the left hand side is a round box, and the round box is like your Tally or SAP or Oracle, your inventory, your billing system, your customer relation system, or even if your client wants to go to a Google or Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever, from where do you want to get the data? That is the first point. What I wanted to do. So for a large PSU, where the rate of the oil prices, petrol, diesel price changes at 12 in the night every day, I wanted to see कि 12:01 को नया रेट लगा है कि नहीं और 11:59 को जूना रेट लगा है कि नहीं. अगर आज प्रोड्यूस करके टैंकर में 5000 लीटर डाला है, तो जब भी मतलब बड़ा टैंक के अंदर और फिर बड़ा छोटा छोटा टैंकर में जब भी जाता है 5 मेट्रिक टन या whatever, whether if I have manufactured 5000 metric ton, whether I have built for 5000 metric ton or not, or is there an evaporation loss and how much it is, and X, Y, and Z they wanted to analyze. So they said, take data from my production system, take data from my billing system, take data from my accounting system. So we picked up those relevant data. So what do you want to analyze? Accordingly, from which system the data is there and which columns you want, you pick it up. Then the second green box is extraction of the data. Once the data is extracted and pulled out, then the third box is red, data quality and data profiling. कि data complete है क्या, correct है क्या, accurate है क्या, जैसा like we talked about vendor master. In everyone there is a GST number or not, XYZ. So those type of checks. And after that check is done, then you go to the light green and the dark green, where the light green is the process mining. It can look at the whole process end to end and say where there is a process package, where it is not happening, where are the gaps, etc. And what can go wrong. And in data analytics, it will say what are the analytical problems, what are the queries, where it is going wrong, whether you paid higher price, whether you excess purchase, whether someone else like who did not have the authority has purchased it, and X, Y, and Z, whether multiple payments have been made or not. So those type of things will come out by doing the data analytics. And then all the data, you can use dynamic reporting tools to even create the dashboards and reports and the pie and the graph charts. And you can even write NPL language and you write reports, and then you can do it. Now, one interesting thing is कि like अगर audit के लिए मेरे को data निकालना भी है client के system से, so I can even use a RPA bot to say, go to so and so site, put the user ID, password, download the data, bring it here, and then you start the analytics, and that way the analytics can be done. So the whole audit methodology is changing, where people are using process mining tools also like a Celonis or Rockstar or this thing. People are using analytic tools like Tableau or Power BI or Excel or Idea or whatever are. People are using database solutions like SQL. People are using dynamic dashboards and like again Tableau and Power BI or Celonis. and people are using NPL languages, and people are using multiple other things, and RPA also to extract the data. So the whole audit methodology for larger companies like Adani or a Reliance, where there are huge volume of data or an idea or a Vodafone, the people are using this. This is becoming reality. ICAI, the CA Institute, has kept aside 100 crore rupees to create software, and I am given to understand that one is keeping of document retention software for chartered accountant from SMPs. They have already developed analytics, how to select analytics and samples that they've already done, and like how to do process end-to-end process review, that also they have designed. So there was some mail which was floating, which was sent to everyone, and it was circulating on WhatsApp also, that you need to register before 30 June, and this software will be given by ICI to you free of cost. So some piece ICI has done. My request would be, look at this software, adopt them, learn them, and utilize them. Okay. So whenever any client approaches you, my last slide, and then I'll stop and I'll take the queries. Whenever any client approaches you, it is very important that from the top, this thing has to be done. The board, the CEO, the CFO has to give the approval. There has to be a budget. There has to be a sponsor. Pick up one small thing and then do it. If it works well, go to second, third, fourth. Don't do everything together. And also understand what is the culture, what is the environment, what hardware, what software they use, and then accordingly pick it up and then do it. Okay. And one last example I'll give you on a consulting before I end this thing. Okay. So see, like I went to one client, and in that client, like at the reception, when I wrote a mail to the client for appointment, the client sent me a mail and there was a password. So when I went to the reception, there was a kiosk machine which was standing, and in the kiosk I put my password. It asked for my mobile number. The moment I put the mobile number, it sent me an authentication key. The moment I put that key, then like it said, okay, it will take my finger, thumb, or retina scan. Okay, whatever it is. So my finger was scanned, thumb was scanned, and the thumb was scanned, and then it automatically asked for my one ID, whatever other ID or whatever, and it gave me a pass. The pass automatically printed, it came out. जैसा टिकट अपना मशीन रेलवे टिकट बाहर आता है वैसा पास आ गया. पास लेके I went ahead. At the door I swiped it and I went inside. Met my client, came back. When I wanted to come out, I had to put the pass into the slot. The moment the pass went inside, the door opened, I came out, and the pass was gone. I don't have the pass, so now I cannot re-enter. Very good. I learned something new, interesting. I went to another client, large organization. Almost every day, 3,000 people come to their complex. Huge, massive, 50, 100 crores acres. When you go to the reception in the morning from 8:30 to 10, you will see at least 200 people sitting there. And there are 8 counters. On 8 counters, 8 ladies are sitting. And if you stand in the queue, your number will be minimum 10 or 11 or 12 number. And then you will spend 20, 25, 30 minutes reaching the counter. And when you reach the counter, she will ask, have you received the passcode? You will say yes. She will enter into the system. Then she will say, what is your mobile number? You will give. Then she will say, show the ID. You will show the ID. Then she will create your pass. Then she will ask you, car hai kya, driver ka number kya, and give you the car pass. And then you will come out. So every person has to spend at least 45 minutes to get a pass to enter the complex. And 2,000 people come every day. And there are 8 ladies who are sitting. That means 16-hour shifts, 16 people are sitting. Which one is more effective? The first or the second? So I went to the client and I told them, like, see, this is the most ineffective way of doing things. And I've seen something where there is something like this. And he said, अच्छा ठीक है तो implement करो, बताओ कैसे हो सकता है. So you should know what is better. You should have the benchmarks. You should know the hardware. You should know the software, and you should be able to talk to the client, and the client is ready to pay the fees. So I'm saying people are going through a huge transformation journey. Can we be part of the transformation journey? Can we learn? Can we equip ourselves? Can we make the money? And then my last slide. Are we ready to face the future with confidence? Thank you. Let me stop here and take as many questions as possible.
What a wonderful, enlightening sessions, Murtuza bhai. We should embrace the future and we should learn tools, and such a wide usage of tools is being done in all good companies. Yeah? So we also have to uplift ourselves. Hopefully, we'll have specific sessions also, and also which are being conducted at WRC. I request members to attend that. Those who have questions, you please unmute and raise your questions.
If people are interested, we can do specific idea also. An idea guy can come for 3 hours. He can give the free demo version, and people can do the hands-on testing and then decide whether they want to buy or not. We can do RPA also. Whatever specific tool and people are interested, 30, 40, we can organize the training, no problem.
Yeah, fantastic. Mhm. So those who are interested, please let us know, and we'll organize something. For questions, you can put it on chat, or you can unmute and ask.
Anything, anything. Like, see, the questions can be any. It can be as simple or as difficult.
Yeah. I have a question, Murtuza bhai. So, like, we have seen that many companies have reached very far, and we are far behind them. And even in terms of practice about usage of technologies. So, from where do we start?
See, my thing is depending on, okay, like, assuming there are few traders where we are doing tax audit, GST audit, but at least I got one manufacturing client or something like that. Maybe I can start by downloading some analytic tools which are free of cost available. Okay, I can definitely start Power BI type of thing, and Power BI is like really very effective, really very effective. એટલે Power BI use કરીને આપણે we can write small queries also. We can design small modules also. Payroll, the whole payroll processing can be done using a Power BI type or a Power BI and this thing like SQL type combined and those type of things. So there are some things which are like, and there are a lot of these which are freely available. So you don't need to pay money. But if someone really has got good clients and can spend that one time 50,000 and then 10,000 rupees a year, then idea is a real very good starting point. And you can write queries, you can code them, and you will be forced to apply your mind. Okay, what should I compare with what can come out, and you will get good insights. And once you start getting this insights, you can develop and implement this for your client. Okay, there are client when they are purchasing, so purchase whether they are paying extra price, whether they are purchasing more, whether there are customers, whether they are receivable, what rate the customers they are selling, whether there is a high or low rate for someone, X, Y, Z. So you can use idea to even do analytics for your client and implementing a continuous control or a dashboard for the client. So idea can be a good starting point. Then like I said, the Power BI can be a good starting point. Okay, so that way, and then we can slowly go ahead. But someone did a course on RPA for as low as 5,000 rupees on robotic process automation. But and then he started implementing in his own office for doing bank reco. Then he started talking to a client, and for client he started doing claim processing, payroll processing, etc. And initially he charged 20,000, 10,000, 15,000, but now he is billing lakhs of rupees, okay, for implementing. So I'm saying once we do the work and once we have that, then we'll be able to go higher to the larger client that way. So there is a query from Aziz Bhai Sutarwala, like about the free software from ICI. Murtuza, you have the mail. Can you forward to everyone that mail from ICI?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
So the mail has come from ICI, so that can be sent. And I would also request, see, whoever is not getting mails from WIRC also, you can give your mail ID and mobile number again to the convener, co-convener, any committee member. So we will consolidate and get that added to the bulk mailing and bulk SMS software, so that these mails can start coming to you, so that important information does not get missed out. Okay. Anything else from anyone? Just give me 1 minute. Huh?
So before we end, I just announced that we are having a next session is there on 3rd July. So that's on recent amendments of Maharashtra Cooperative Societies Act 1960, and the procedure for registration, conveyance, and deemed conveyance. So which is a very good practice area for chartered accountants. So that is going to be taken by our core committee member and past convener Tasneem bin Dalal. So that's on coming Saturday, 3rd July. Yeah. So hope to see you all. Yeah. Continue, Murtuza bhai. Yeah. Any
Yeah,
questions, anyone? Yeah. Okay, there is a request for specific sessions on idea and analytical softwares. Fine.
so
We'll
Murtuza,
see what we can cover in maybe 2 hours session, and if required, some workshops either at Byculla CPE or at WRC level. We'll just see that.
see what we can do is idea. I will give you, you and I can do a joint call with this guy, Deepji and his team member Jairam, and we can
Right.
tell them tax audit, no, like a particular data if we can give for a petrol
Yeah,
pump or real estate client or a manufacturing client, and he will run that data and explain like how queries can be run and how it can be useful for tax audit or GST audit that way. So that Jairam can then do it for us, specific session, okay, 2 hours.
Fine, good.
Okay.
And also about Excel, we have planned Excel and live in Power BI. We'll just have it.
Sure.
Yeah, fine. So thank you so much, Murtuza bhai, for enlightening us for the latest tools and practice areas for upcoming practice areas and how we need to update ourselves. Thank you so much, Murtuza bhai. We will try to uplift ourselves and to the latest trends. And thank you all participants for being with us. And for a formal vote of thanks, I would request our core committee member, Sri Shabir Lokhandwala, to unmute and say a well-deserved vote of thanks to Murtuza bhai, our learned speaker.
Thank you, Murtuza bhai. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Thank you.
Sir Shabbi Lokhandwala, on behalf of the entire participants today, sir, really thankful for such a phenomenal webinar, sir. Cannot ask for a more futuristic evening than today, sir. As mentioned by you, that technology is now the present, is indeed the reality, sir. But sometimes it is a bit worrying. But after listening to you, sir, today we have realized the scope that this field possesses. Thank you for making us realizing it, sir. So you very well highlighted various tools that can be used today, not only for managerial audits, but also for stat, tax, and also office management, sir. By using a very practical example of procure to pay, sir. Today your webinar not just highlighted the in-depth knowledge that you possesses on the subject, but also the keenness in sharing the same with us, sir, with your fellow colleagues. So, sir, today on behalf of all the participants, a very heartfelt thanks to you, sir, for sparing the time, and hoping to listen to you more frequently, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. A big thank you to everyone for inviting me also and for being patient with me today.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Murtuza bhai.
Okay.
Thank you, Shabir bhai. Thank you all participants. See you all coming Saturday on this cooperative societies session.